You know what they say about old trappers?
I know what they say about old trappers.
Old trappers never die, they just smell that way.
Yeah, right.
Hidden deep in the wilds of Montana, surrounded by towering pines and the whispers of the Yark River, sits a small wooden cabin that once belonged to one of the most beloved men in reality television, Tom Oar. But recently, something extraordinary happened. What was discovered inside his old cabin has left fans speechless, sparking speculation, disbelief, and a renewed fascination with the man who walked away from fame to live life on his own terms. Tom Oar wasn't just another television personality. To fans of mountain men, he represented something rare, a living connection to the old American frontier, a craftsman who lived by his hands, his skills, and his sheer willpower. For years, audiences watched in awe as Tom tanned hides, built tools, and faced the brutal winters of Montana with nothing but determination and grit. But what most people didn't realize was that behind his calm demeanor, there was a deeper story, one about freedom, survival, and the heavy cost of choosing isolation over everything else. After decades in the spotlight, Tom quietly vanished from public view. Rumors swirled that he had moved further into the wilderness, away from cameras, away from society, and away from the fame he never really wanted. His fans, worried by his absence, began to wonder, was Tom Oar still out there? Or had the wilderness finally claimed one of its most devoted sons? It wasn't until a few months ago that the mystery began to unravel. A small group of outdoor enthusiasts hiking through northwestern Montana stumbled across a cabin deep in the trees, a cabin that matched the descriptions fans had pieced together from mountain men. The group initially thought they'd just found an old trapper's shelter, but as they approached, they noticed the craftsmanship, the same type of hand-hewn logs, the unique latch design, the intricate leather straps decorating the door. To those familiar with Tom's work, the evidence was unmistakable. They had found his cabin. What they found inside, however, was far from what anyone expected. Inside the cabin, everything looked frozen in time. Tools still hung neatly on the wall, each one carefully arranged. A half-finished pair of handmade moccasins rested beside a wooden chair. There were handwritten notes, some with sketches of wildlife, others with what appeared to be Tom's reflections on life, solitude, and time. It wasn't a chaotic space, nor was it abandoned in a hurry. It was as if the man who once called it home had simply stood up one day, opened the door, and disappeared into the trees. But there was one particular item that drew the most attention, a small, weathered notebook resting on the workbench. Inside, it contained pages of thoughts written in Tom's distinctive handwriting. They weren't just about trapping or survival. They were about mortality, peace, and the changing world. One line reportedly read, "The forest never asks who you were. It only cares how you live." That single sentence has been shared across fan pages and forums, becoming a kind of final message from the man himself. Locals say Tom had always been private, even before the cameras came. When he agreed to join Mountain Men, it wasn't for fame. It was to show people a way of life that was slowly disappearing. He once said that modern life had too many distractions and not enough meaning. And the more popular the show became, the more he seemed to pull back, uncomfortable with the attention. When the series eventually moved on without him, he didn't fight it. He just faded into the background, much like the fog that rolls through the Montana valleys each dawn. As photos of the cabin began circulating online, fans reacted with a mix of awe and sadness. Some said it felt like looking into a museum, an untouched time capsule of a man who represented independence and integrity. Others couldn't help but speculate about where Tom might be now. Was he still alive, living even deeper in the wilderness? Or had he chosen to quietly end his story, surrounded by the land he loved most? No one truly knows, and that uncertainty only deepens the mystery. A few close friends have come forward to calm the speculation. According to them, Tom had long planned to leave his cabin behind. He believed that a home doesn't need walls to exist. It lives in memory. Those who knew him best say he wasn't running away from fame, but returning to something pure: silence, simplicity, and self-reliance. Even in his final years on Mountain Men, he often spoke about letting go and listening to nature instead of noise. That philosophy seems to echo through every inch of that cabin. What makes this story so powerful is what it reveals about Tom Oar's spirit. The cabin wasn't filled with riches or hidden treasures. It was filled with purpose. Every hand-carved tool, every note, every piece of leather spoke of a man who found meaning not in wealth or recognition, but in work, solitude, and respect for the natural world. In a world obsessed with social media and attention, Tom's quiet retreat feels almost rebellious, a statement of pure authenticity. The discovery has also reignited interest in Mountain Men, reminding viewers what made the show so captivating in the first place. It wasn't just about survival. It was about values that seem almost forgotten today: resilience, craftsmanship, and independence. Tom embodied those ideals, and his cabin stands as a symbol of what we lose when we trade simplicity for convenience. One local trapper who had known Tom for years said something that stuck with me. Tom didn't disappear. He just became part of the landscape. Maybe that's the truth. Maybe the real mystery isn't where he went, but how deeply he managed to live before leaving. Whether Tom Oar ever returns or remains forever part of the wilderness, one thing is clear: his story will never truly end. His cabin, now a quiet monument to his way of life, continues to whisper his legacy through the trees. And for those who admired him, that might just be the most fitting tribute of all, because in the end, Tom Oar didn't just live off the land. He became part of it.